Father, I want to thank you so much for the chance again to study your word. And I'm grateful that you have shown us ways to live life to the fullest here so that we can even enjoy and experience eternity forever. So with all that said, I'm asking right now that you would just calm us, that you would send your peace, and that you would allow us to see the joy of living a life in your grace. So no matter what, with our body, with our mind, with our soul, we pray that we would worship you in spirit and in truth. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. All right, now what do we have here? We're going to be talking about spinach, but as we talk about spinach, normally when you think of a spinach, you're thinking about a bunch of spinach there in the grocery store. Some of you, it's the spring and summertime, you might be actually growing your own spinach. That is one of our goals. But right now, if you're going to get spinach, the best way you want to get it is probably raw spinach. You know that there are the frozen varieties, even there are canned and bottled varieties. You want to try and get as fresh as possible, straight from the ground, because this is a superfood. Really, you know, that's kind of a term that's become kind of cool to use in recent times, but really all food is superfood. It has something in it that we probably won't have in ourselves unless we eat it. So that's really my personal definition of make something a superfood. This one's really good because it's not only good for you, it's easy to get. It's pretty affordable. And what we have here is an actual amount that's raw. And this is the most affordable option that we have found. This is a bag of spinach, a huge bag of spinach, 2.5 pounds. And the reason why that's important, because the thing about spinach, when you're eating it and you cook it, now if you're eating it raw, because it is one of those great insoluble fiber foods to eat. And the cool thing about spinach too, when it's raw, is that a lot of the carbs in spinach, it's basically in the fiber. So that's great because you're getting energy, but it's going to burn slowly. And that's why you don't see anybody in the hospital from eating too much spinach, because it is not something that's going to make you gain weight. It's not something that's going to add bad fats to your diet. It's all good for you. Now, as I was saying earlier about the size of this, because when you're eating it and you cook it, it really wilts down easily and quickly. So it takes a lot to get a lot if you're going to cook it. But we're going to show you how to do it both ways, how to prep it raw. And then we're going to show you how to do what's called a saute, which is not a fry, even though you can pretty much do anything you want to the spinach. You can fry it, you can bake it, you can boil it, which is usually how I ate it growing up. But I don't enjoy it as much when you're boiling it. I like either raw or saute. And that's what we're going to show you how to do and how you can incorporate that without overcooking it so that you get that flavor and you still get all those good vitamins that are in it. What kind of vitamins are we talking about? Well, before we talk about the vitamins, let me go ahead and warm up our saute pan. Just going to use a regular size, this is a smaller shape, saute pan. And I'm going to put it on a medium heat. Remember, whenever we're going to cook something, and we're going to a plant-based diet, we want to try to preserve as much of the vitamins and nutrients in it while also getting that flavor that makes us want to eat it. God made our food to taste good. So rather than overcooking it, we're going to go ahead and put it on a medium heat. And in that medium heat, it allows us to break down the food so that it's cooked, but it's not killed. Remember, this didn't have hooves. It doesn't have a mama. So you don't have to worry about killing it to eat it. You want it to be alive to eat it because that's what living food does for you and for me. Now, when you have your spinach, this particular brand, which I got from a big box store, you can either find them at Costco. I think carries this particular brand. I'm thinking, I don't know if Sam's Club has that or not, but you can get any bag of spinach in the grocery store. However, as far as a price point, this is the best that we have found, because this is about 2.5 pounds. So that's around 40 ounces. If we do the math, let me grab a math calculator here. If you do the math on that and you try to find the unit price, let's see here. This costs about $4.79, I believe. So let's just go ahead and say $4.80. Then we're going to divide that by 40 ounces to get our unit price. That breaks down to about 12 cents an ounce. So if you go to the store, I know there are other brands in the store, another big box store. That one I think is like 2 something actually it's like 3 something, 350 for, and I think it was like 8 ounces. So that's like 44 cents an ounce. So when you get it, if you know that you're going to be eating a lot of it and you know you want to eat more of it, I would suggest that you start, if you're not eating any at all, get the ones that you see there in the grocery store. But when you start incorporating it more into your diet, and if you're going to juice with spinach, you're gonna need a big bag. Otherwise, you're just gonna plow through it. Because we juice it, we also put it in smoothies, and we put it in our food to eat. So really, this bag comes out on top, and we go through a bag of this in about a week. And with your spinach, you want to be able to go through it, and you want to be able to eat it within a week's time, because no matter how fresh it is, because it's so fresh, the moisture that gets into the bag or on the spinach will actually cause the bag to sweat, and it will cause your spinach to wilt, and it'll be no good. So it has to be refrigerated when it's fresh. So that's another thing to bear in mind. Can you freeze it? Yes, you can, but I don't recommend freezing it, because again, when we go to eat it, I like eating it fresh, and I'd rather eat it fresh, because remember, when it was frozen, those waters got cooled or chilled in there, and so it's going to be more mushy, and I don't want it to be mushy. I like that crispy raw spinach when I'm eating it. But we're going to go ahead and show you how to prep it raw, because when you're prepping it raw, you pretty much then can take it from there and just saute it. Now, let's show how to prep it raw. I'm going to take out a handful, which gives you about a cup of spinach, okay? This is fresh. This particular brand is triple washed. So spinach, if you've ever grown it before on its own, it's a very sandy dirt that it needs in order for it to grow. And because of it, kind of like kale is, that's why it gets so dirty, because the dirt, the best dirt for growing it is sandy. But those sands or those grains of rock get all inside of the leaves, and it makes it hard to deal with if you're eating it fresh. You got to make sure you clean it well. I like this brand because not only is it affordable, it's already clean. So you can eat it literally straight from the bag. Now, going to making it raw, when you're prepping it, you're going to need a knife. No, I took out my knife, I thought. I don't like that knife. Let me go here. My mom gave me this knife. I like this one. It's my favorite to use. Okay, so now, when you're prepping it raw, this is how a leaf looks. This leaf is powerful. Why is it powerful? Let me get a bigger one. It's powerful because it is high in vitamin C. Normally, when you think of vitamin C, we're thinking of something orange, we're thinking of something red, and you would be right about that. But this is very high in vitamin C, antibacterial, antiviral. Remember, that's one of the things we're trying to do, right? Let food be our medicine and medicine be our food. So if you don't like the bitterness of the vitamin C, or if you may not have access to that vitamin C, make sure you're eating it, because your body cannot produce it. We're not like other animals that make it on its own. We have to eat foods that have vitamin C. So if you're someone who may be trying to work away from fruits because of the high fructose or the high sugar content, you can still get your vitamin C's from things like red bell peppers, green bell peppers, and now even spinach. When you're also looking at a vitamin C source, you also got a vitamin K source. Vitamin K is important because we need that vitamin K to help our blood to clot. In fact, one single leaf gives you 1/2 of the current recommended daily allowance of vitamin K, just one leaf. So basically, if you eat 2 leaves of raw spinach, you've got your RDA for vitamin K. So I know some of us may be taking or have medications that are dealing with blood clotting or lack thereof or whatever. Get your vitamin K in. 2 leaves will give you your RDA for the day. But we're going to eat way more than that. Another thing that you've got in spinach that's good for you too is that it has loads of iron. We need iron because that's the mineral that helps us to build up that hemoglobin. It strengthens the blood. So it's vital, especially for my sisters out there, when you're dealing with your daily or monthly cycles. This is a great food to help perpetuate healthy menstrual cycles. And then brothers out there, we need this because our blood is how we transport oxygen throughout the body. And so all of us, brothers and sisters, we need superfoods like these spinaches to help us get good blood, because some people will say, well, I don't want to be plant-based because I'm always going to be tired or I'm going to be weak. No, that's going to happen no matter if you don't eat enough of what your body needs, plant-based or otherwise. This is the food that builds up that good blood. And another thing too, good blood. And another thing too about spinach is that it's an antioxidant. In other words, it keeps your body from oxidizing. And it happens to all our cells, right? The cells eventually do their thing and then they're going to die. In order to slow that process or even inhibit that process, you want to eat foods that are antioxidizers. They are the anti-agers that allow our bodies to look better, feel better, and last longer. Spinach is one of those foods that has it. So all of these benefits, and these aren't even all of the benefits, but these are like the big ones that I like to promote. Oh yeah, on top of that, it's anti-cancer as well. So it can fight those diseases, those tumors, those growths, prevent them from even happening and even deal with them when they've happened. This food has no negative other than we may not eat it. So how can we eat more of it? When it comes to eating it raw, what we like to do, as you can see, a leaf of spinach is pretty leafy. So when you're dealing with chewing it, to kind of combat you or having to wrestle with how you eat it or chew it, what we like to do is we like to slice it. And what we do when we slice it, I grab a bunch. I got it here by the hand. I'm just going to take a knife cut here. And I've shown you how the leaf looks, and I'm bunching it as I'm cutting it. Let me make sure you see me here. I'm bunching it as I cut it. So what it really is going to look like in the end is it's going to look more like ribbons. Now I've got my bunch here. This is about 1 cup of spinach. And so now you may ask about these stems. Well, what about the stems, Chris? Can I eat those? Absolutely. You want to eat the stems. Whole thing. You don't want to go through and be picking the stems off. No, because the nutrients, remember that chlorophyll was transferred from the plant root through that stem to the leaf. You want what's in the stem, and especially when you go to eat it, it doesn't have a bitter taste. Like if you're eating a kale or a collard green, I'm eating the stem now, there's no bitterness. It's a firmer texture, but there's no bitterness inside of that stem. So it's not going to take away from the flavor of you eating the entire leaf. So what I've done, just with one simple cut, crossed all the way through. Now look at the texture of what we have here. Now, when we go to put this in a salad, instead of just eating a salad, what we like to call salad, most American salads are nothing but water. Because what's the most popular lettuce leaf that we eat? Iceberg. There's a reason why they call it iceberg. Because iceberg lettuce is basically water. There's nothing wrong with that, just like a cucumber. But unlike a cucumber that has a lot of water, a lettuce like iceberg doesn't have a lot of nutrients. Not getting a lot of vitamins or minerals in that. On the other hand, you take that lettuce, and we don't really eat iceberg, but if you like iceberg, go for it. If you've got romaine, arugula, whatever, you take this darker green in there and put it in the salad. Oh, it's game on. It's going to elevate your salad from a flavor profile, but also from a nutrient profile, because now you're getting all those vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin K, vitamin A that you do not have in a regular salad. So that's why some people can eat loads of salad, but it doesn't have the benefit nutritionally. It does fill you up. It is low in fat, but this gives you low in fat. It fills you up and you got vitamins and nutrients. Okay, so now we took a cup of spinach rather, and now we're going to show you how to saute it. You can eat this raw as a salad on its own. We do this all the time. I'll be eating, and if we want to throw something green in there, we'll just put it there, right there on the plate. You put a little dressing over it. Showed you how to do that dressing in the previous video, the 2-2-2 dressing. Or if you want to go ahead and make your, rather purchase your own dressing that you like, drizzle a little bit on there. Get this into your meal. So no matter what it is, what if I'm eating a chili, for example, or a soup? Well, I would suggest you cook it in the soup. But if you're not, once you've made your soup, let's say you're making a potato soup, or let's say that you're making something like a chili that doesn't have any greens in it. You can take that soup, take that chili, you've chopped up your spinach, and now you're going to garnish, not garnish, we're not decorating, we're eating. You want to go ahead and sprinkle this a half a cup or a fourth a cup in there with every serving. So you're working in the green into any entree, any savory entree that you're eating. Probably don't want to put any in your cereal or your oatmeal, but I think you get the point, right? If it's something that's savory, you can definitely add it and get that green and sneak it in there just whenever you can. Now I want to show you now, how can you saute it so that it can have its own feature? Because when it comes to making spinach, a lot of people go the boiling route. And I do not like the boiling route. It does not taste good to my palate. So I saute it so I get the flavor, but again, I'm not killing it. So what we've done is we've warmed our saute pan here. All we're going to add to our saute, simple ingredients. We're going to go with our favorite oil. We're going to put some coconut oil to help facilitate that saute. Then we're going to add a little onion, garlic powder, and pink Himalayan salt. These three actually, you don't have to add it all. But just to give it a little flavor, I like to add the garlic powder and or onion. Now, I prefer the fresh garlic, but I just didn't happen to have any. We don't have any right now at the moment. So we're going to go with the garlic powder. So with our saute, we're going to add a little bit. Let's make this 2 cups. I got 1 cup here prepped for our recipe. We're going to go 1 cup, and then we're going to go 2. Now, this is per person. So you think about it, if you're family of 4, it's the 2 of you or more, you're going to have to add up because this is going to cook down. It's going to cook down scary cook down. Because when I say scary, I mean that it's like, well, where'd it go? Because it just wilts up so easily, right? So this is 2 cups of fresh, raw spinach. What we've done, we've sliced it through. If you don't want to slice it, you just want to keep it whole, that's fine too. But it's just a little bit harder to work with because it's going to be bigger. I like to cook it down so it's easier for everybody to enjoy. The children like this recipe, so you got to remember to make it good for the little mouths too. So we're going to add a little bit of coconut oil to our, I'm probably going to need a spoon because this coconut oil has melted down on us. All right, so I'm going to add a teaspoon of coconut oil. Okay, so I've got a teaspoon of coconut oil, and then we're going to go with the fresh spinach right into the pan. Remember, I'm on a medium heat. We don't want a lot of smoke. We're just trying to saute this. So there we go. We got that smoke working with the coconut oil, and you could probably hear it now there. So we've got 2 cups in the saute pan starting to work. Now I want to go ahead and get in there quick, make sure it doesn't scorch. And I'm just going to move this around. Remember, this is only a teaspoon of coconut oil. It doesn't take a lot because the heat is what's doing the work, not the oil. That's the key. So now we're going to go ahead and put about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of salt, pink Himalayan salt here on top. We're going to go with about 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Work it around on the top. And if you have the onion, you can go ahead and add about 1 tablespoon of diced onion or sliced. It's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and just dice this. I'm going to slice this up. I'm slicing the onion, but if you want to dice it, you're welcome to dice it too. This is about 1 tablespoon of onion. Okay? I'm going to work this around. And I'm basically just trying to make sure that everything is breaking down. And I'm done. This is sauteed spinach. Now I'm going to get a plate so you can see how big. You saw how big the pile was here on our cutting board. Let me show you how much we've cooked down to. Let me get a plate. Let me get a tiny plate so you can see how tiny our saute cooked down to. There we go. Now, I think before you could spell spinach, S-P-I-N-A-C-H, this thing was done. That took no time. No time at all. So if you see how quickly 2 cups of spinach can cook down on you, that's why you need a big bag if you're going to saute it. Because this 1 cup cooked down, if I want to get technical, let's do that. I think I got the 1/4 cup. Yeah, got the 1/4 cup thing here. So our 2 cups sauteed down to about 1/4 cup with the little remnant hanging over. So that's sauteed down to 1/4. So you kind of get the idea. If you're going to get serious about your spinach, you're going to need a big bag, especially if you're going to start juicing, putting it in smoothies, you're going to need a big bag. And the cool thing about spinach is that it is affordable. It is a cheap vegetable because it's pretty easy to grow. And that's one of the benefits, and again, one of the blessings of a plant-based diet. At about 12 cents an ounce, think about how many ounces of chicken you need, how many ounces of beef you might be eating to get full. 12 cents an ounce, you can't beat this. Now I just need a fork so we can see what is the score on our spinach. Got the onions in there, got the garlic powder, salt. Notice how, I hope you can notice. Yeah, this here, it's not all mushy. You know, no hate on those who like it boiled, but I just can't deal with it boiled. I'm not Popeye. On point. It's got a little bit of crunch to it. You saw how long we cooked that, right? That was like 30 seconds. I really don't even like it cooked down this much. Because I didn't mention one of the cool things about this spinach, because it's a good add-on with raw food, you could add it into your cooked food too. Some of you may work it in with your tofu. Scrambled tofu, how to make it green, and how to get green into your breakfast. Use your spinach. When you're working your tofu, however you do it, you may be using your eggs as well. Let's go ahead and elevate that scrambled egg, put it in with your tofu or with your eggs, and you work in that green. So when you're eating a meal like breakfast, or you got your pancakes, or you got whatever. I'm trying to stop eating this and keep talking. You can get that green component in there where you normally wouldn't have it. When you got a gyro, pita bread sandwiches, instead of going with your iceberg lettuce, man, there's nothing bad with the iceberg lettuce, but let's go to another level. Put some spinach on there. Now be mindful, the spinach will behave a little bit differently than like a lettuce because of its water content, right? So when you put it on there in a sandwich, make sure you eat that sandwich that day. Because if you wait, it's going to get mushy on you. You may not care, but as you can see, I'm not a big fan of mushy. That's sauteed spinach. That's good. That can be done. You saw how quick it was to make. Anybody can make it. As long as you got a saute pan and a little tummy, you can make some big food. I shouldn't say little tummy because I got a big tummy and it fills me up. That's how you can add spinach. I see you out there, Bronx Dad. I think that's Brother Dwayne Dunkley. Shout out to the Dunkley family. It's good to see y'all hanging with us today. It's just so easy to go green. I'm not talking about being environmental. I'm talking about being inspired in your health. When we eat the foods that God has made us, it is one of the ways that we reflect our faith in his covenant. The promise that he said, I would not let the diseases, I would not let the illnesses of Egypt come upon you. That doesn't mean if someone's sick that they're bad. No, remember he had to teach the disciples that bad things happen to good people in a bad world. But I also believe that even in our health journey and even in our faith journey, that we will experience better, because we got to wait for heaven for perfect. We got to wait for heaven for best, but we will do better when we invest ourselves and our family's health in the things that God has made and not the things that man has boxed. Let's keep that in mind, folks. I hope you add more spinach to your diet. If you got any more questions, you might have another recipe that you know about, please share it with us. But get this into your spinach, get this into your sautés, get this into your diet, and you won't regret it at all. Speaking of regret.